Hello people, this is Thunderhands. I'm doing a video today on Taoism, the Tao, or it's spelled T-A-O, but it's pronounced D-A-O. One of my belief systems is Taoism coupled with Native American philosophy or Native American spirituality. And both of these systems of thought have to do with nature, big time on the nature thing. Both of these, Taoism and Native American spirituality. And sometimes I even have a website called Native American Taoist, which is below in the show notes along with some other links. But a lot of people wonder sometimes what Taoism is because I've talked about it or I've referred to it. And I've referred to a lot of things that are associated with Taoism, like being a free spirit, like the energy, life force, chi, prana. There's different meditation techniques that I've talked about, the circulation of the microcosmic orbit, which is a video that I just did, the previous video. I just did a video on chi, prana, and life force, okay? So you can review that, but I wanted to touch on something that is correlated to what I talked about previously. Now, Taoism, or the Tao, and again, it's pronounced D-A-O, but it's spelled T-A-O, Tao, T-A-O, or Taoism, T-A-O-I-S-M, is kind of a philosophical belief system, a philosophical belief system, as opposed to, let's say, an organized religion belief system. And the first thing I thought I'd do today is, I've talked about my book, Listen to the Wind, Speak from the Heart. And this is a copy of Listen to the Wind, Speak from the Heart. It's kind of hard to see. It's not as clear as it could be. But there's two chapters in here. This is my book, and it's an award-winning book, and I've talked about it before. But there's two chapters in here, and all the chapters are short. I would just like to read an excerpt from a chapter called The Taoist Warrior, which kind of gives an overview of what Taoism is to me. So I'll read some here. It's called The Taoist Warrior. The Taoist warrior speaks only to guide. The Taoist warrior prefers silence because his guidance often falls on deaf ears, and so he leads by example. The Taoist warrior realizes the sword of no sword. The Taoist warrior cares not for the mundane and trivial of which most of the world is comprised, excepting nature. The Taoist warrior realizes that concepts of right and wrong are just that, concepts. The Taoist warrior cuts to the core without touching the bone. The Taoist warrior is not so concerned with morality and right or wrong, because one man's right is another man's wrong, and one man's morality is another man's immorality. The Taoist warrior realizes that the past and future are a foggy mist that can't be grasped. The Taoist warrior realizes that all wars and enemies are generated from within. The Taoist warrior answers to no one, but walks with the Tao, which doesn't require answers, judging, or assigning blame. The Taoist warrior realizes that guilt, fear, and anger are a figment of the mind generated by earthly concepts and conditioning. The Taoist warrior prefers nature and living alone. The Taoist warrior is a spiritual warrior and a spiritual man or woman. The Taoist warrior is perfect in that he is not perfect according to the ways of the world. The Taoist warrior is a traveler and wanderer within and without. The Taoist warrior is often mistaken for having a cold heart because he realizes detachment is the true compassion for self and others. The Taoist warrior is a calling few can comprehend. For how can the Tao be comprehended? The Taoist warrior doesn't comprehend. The Taoist warrior just is. The Taoist warrior realizes that he doesn't know, and that not knowing is the way of realization. The Taoist warrior can seem like a contradiction to others, for all things change, and he flows with the change. This is called walking with the Tao. So that kind of sums up how Taoists think, or how I view how a Taoist should think. And that goes right along with my concept of being a free spirit. Being a free spirit goes right hand in hand with Taoism. So I wrote a chapter in here about being a free spirit. This is another chapter in my book, and there's many, many chapters. They're just short. So I thought I'd read the excerpt about being a free spirit. I have often been accused of and have declared myself as being a free spirit. This can be a blessing or a curse depending on how you look at it. The dictionary defines free spirit as the following noun: a person with a highly individual or unique attitude, lifestyle, or imagination, nonconformist. That being said, let me try to expound on what being a free spirit means to me and how others view it. First, people who are free spirits may have at one time been oppressed or beaten down and vow never to be controlled again. Free spirits may listen and learn from masters, but as Jet Li put it in the movie War, I have not betrayed my master because I have no master. The only master they have is the highest one, the flow of life, the universe, or the Tao, because it puts no demands on them and is non-judgmental, and therefore allows them to be their own master. This means there is no belief in an angry, unmerciful type God or entity ready to hail down fire and brimstone. Their concept is more of a higher power or creative force, free of codes of morality shaped by religious institutions. And I want to just comment on that. Religious institutions have no bearing on what a Taoist is. In fact, a religious institution is diametrically opposed. Creative people are usually free spirits, and again, maybe people who have been oppressed in the past. You can't trick a free spirit through manipulation, drama, or any other means. Since they are free, they are through with the bullshit, and they see through it. Sometimes they have studied every means of manipulation you can imagine, including hypnotherapy, religion, and other forms of control, like drama from certain relationships, just so they can avoid it. Now, being a free spirit has certain issues that must be recognized. First and foremost is the accusation that they are selfish and care for no one but themselves, and that they are cold. Nothing could be further from the truth. Being a free spirit doesn't mean you don't have compassion for other people's problems or suffering. As a matter of fact, you see these things quite clearly, but prefer non-attachment. How much better it is to help others from the perspective than to get involved in the drama. Being a free spirit means seeing the bigger picture and helping from that viewpoint. Being a free spirit means that at times you find it to the benefit of all concerned to just walk away or to say no. In the martial arts, this is called the sword of no sword. Saying no is okay. It's a good thing sometimes. People get mad at free spirits when they walk away or say no because they no longer have control. There are a lot of control issues going around these days. The government wants to control, religion wants to control, your mate, lover, family, and so-called friends may want to control, and most times this is done supposedly for your own good. Free spirits realize this isn't always true. They usually see the ulterior motives. They listen, evaluate, and make a decision. Sometimes being a free spirit allows you to see where other people are in bondage to a way of thinking, and these others may prompt you to try to free them in some way. This is the hardest thing of all to a free spirit. Sometimes you are almost willing to sacrifice your freedom to help them, but when push comes to shove, if your help or words fall on deaf ears, there is nothing you can do except withdraw to keep your own free spirit intact. This doesn't mean you don't love them. In a sense, it means you do. You finally realize they must walk their own path to free spirit status. Yeah, so that's just, I could have done a little bit better on the reading there, but that's just some excerpts from my book that I thought you might enjoy. Being a writer, is one way to express, besides the videos I do here, to express how I feel, and then those words are always there for the future, or let's say they're near at hand, as near at hand as wherever you place the book, on your bookshelf or on your nightstand, or wherever you want to put it. Now, having read some excerpts from my own book, I want to kind of outline where I've gotten my ideas from, and some of those ideas have come from people like Lao Tzu or Lao Tzu. He was the author of the Tao Te Ching, and he was an ancient Chinese philosopher and writer. He was actually the founder of philosophical Taoism, and he is the one that is often referred to. He was a legendary figure, dated to around the 6th century BCE, and he was a contemporary of Confucius. But Lao Tzu was not into Confucian type philosophy. He was, which was orderly and had rules and rigid regulations, that type of thing. He was more into going with the flow, being free, being of a free spirit status, not having to conform, living outside the box, pushing the envelope, all of these things, being a free spirit and being a Taoist warrior just go hand in hand. Now, there was another writer too, Zhuangzi, who wrote the famous book, The Chuang-Tzu, which is spelled Chuangtzu, Chuang-Tzu, which is a profound work. and one that should be read by anybody that claims to be a Taoist or claims to want to follow the philosophical trappings of Taoism. So Zhuangzi, spelled Zhuangzi, Zhuangzi, or it could be Huangzi. I'm not an authority on Chinese language, but I know that a lot of people will be interested in this concept of Taoism, because it really, people, it's the only way to go. It's the way to free your mind up. It's the way to live in this world with not having a whole lot of concern, or let's say not being attached to some of the negativity that we see surrounding us in the world. It's seeing the big picture, looking at things as, let's say there's a lot of things that are diametrically opposed, but looking at that as the yin and yang of life, which I've talked about numerous times. Looking at the yin and yang. In other words, you can't have black without white. You can't have white without black. So good and evil kind of fall into that same category, or that when you get right down to it, when you start talking about, let's say, politics, this person's good, that one's evil. None of that really, in the mind of the Taoist, none of that really means shit. It doesn't mean anything. It's just a interplay of this yin and yang principle that we see in the universe and that we see all around us. And they look at things, they also look at the big picture of preponderance of yin or yang. Like, if things seem really bad in the world, then they'd look at that as just a preponderance of yin, or the dark, or the black. And the world goes through cycles. It goes through cycles of yin and yang, and dark and light, that type thing. And everything goes through those cycles. That's why when, let's say, I lower my frequency and I start talking about, let's say, politics, and I start talking about different people in the political arena. Thunder sees things in terms of yin and yang, so he sees things in terms of dark and light, or shades of gray in between the dark and light. Shades of gray. And as yin turns to yang, or yang turns to yin, you have these shades of gray. You have going from black to a little bit lighter to a little bit lighter, or you have white going from white to a little bit darker and a little bit darker. So when you look at things in the world, let's say like political candidates, or situations that are happening, or people that are creating different situations, you tend to look at it as what shade of gray it is, what shade of where is it tending to go? Is it going towards light? Is it going towards darkness? What is the trend? And the only way that you can figure out what trends are sometimes is by not getting involved in the aspect of judgment. Okay. Taoists don't really judge people. They just look at the entirety of the energy there, and they try to see from a higher consciousness level which way that trend is going. And so, yeah, you can comment on different things like world affairs, like I do, But actually, when you get right down to it, pure Taoist thought really doesn't give a shit about what's going on in the political arena or what's going on in any arena that is going to stoke up these fires of imbalance in yourself on an energy level. Let's say there's people that want to be activists for a certain thing. Sometimes being an activist, when you get involved in being an activist, it totally throws you out of kilter and totally gets you involved in one side or the other of the yin-yang equation. It's all rather silly. It's all rather silly. Because a Taoist doesn't think in terms of, like I read earlier in my book, a Taoist doesn't think in terms of right and wrong, one man's wrong being another man's right, that type of thing. He sees it for what it is. He sees people from their worldviews, however they were raised or whatever they've been subjected to in the world, and their worldviews, how that affects them in the sense of balance, okay? And if they're letting their worldview steer them to a certain way of thinking in regards to right and wrong, okay? It's really hard to put into words, but a Taoist rises all above that. A Taoist is really an enigma. Like I read out of my book here, a Taoist is sometimes perceived as cold. A Taoist is sometimes perceived as almost a simpleton, just really not caring. But at the same time, the Taoist knows the Taoist is far beyond any concepts of the lower mundane exchange of this yin and yang energy. He or she sees it from a much higher level, and so is kind of like unaffected by, not kind of like, is unaffected by, if you're a true Taoist, is unaffected by the goings on and the machinations of the world at large. So it's really kind of a fun thing to get into, Taoism, and realization that Taoism really is all about going with the flow. It's really all about the dream of life. It's really all about seeing life as a dream, not grasping to, not being attached to any one thing or another, because that tends to lead you down the path of anxiety and frustration. So just touching a little bit here on Taoism and getting a video out on a day here that is beautiful in the desert. Little bit of wind. Yesterday was just completely awesome. Today is the same, except there's a little bit more wind, which is keeping me from riding my Harley because I'm looking for that perfect day. Of course, Harley purists would say, go out on any day, man. Like I said before, though, I'm looking at the big picture. So anyway, another thing that I wanted to comment on while I'm doing this video is I've talked about donations before, and I've talked about my books, and I've talked about this book that I just read from, and I have 2 more books. The other book is called Emergence, and that is a novel. It's fiction. And it, although really I call it a shaman's Bible hidden within the covers of a fictional novel. And the fictional novel is about twin souls who hook up, Native American twin souls who hook up in a modern society, but they know that they're both wisdom keepers, and they know they have a purpose, and they realize that they have a oneness with one another. And so that book has all kinds of spiritual techniques and tantra and some of the other stuff I talked about, like splatter vision. It incorporates all kinds of things with the two characters in the book, which would be called Thunder and Natalie. The book was patterned after my life to a great degree. So you might want to check that out. A lot of people said that should be made into a movie, and there's a lot of hidden secrets in there. So you can get Listen to the Wind, Speak from the Heart, which is the book I just read from, and you can get my book Emergence. And you can get Emergence 2, which is called Thunder in the Wind. At some of the links that I put in the show notes, I put the book links. You'll see it down there. It says book links, and you can buy those direct from Create Space, which is a division of Amazon. Feel free to check it out. And then on the other thing, another little note I wanted to make is on the deal about me accepting donations. If you like this video, or if you're learning things from this video, and particularly those members of the Campfire Council in support of Thunder and the Campfire Council, there is a little PayPal. If you go to my YouTube channel and hit About, there's a bunch of little things right underneath the artwork, and one of them says About. In other words, about this person or about this channel. You hit that and it'll take you to a page, a YouTube channel page, and on that will be some links, and you will see a little donate with a PayPal. You'll see the word donate on one of the links with a PayPal insignia. So I guess I'll just kind of leave it there today. I didn't want to make this video too long, but it looks like it's getting kind of there already. So hope you enjoy this, and I'll be doing more videos here real soon. So keep your eye out for them. When you subscribe, you can also, if you subscribe to the channel, you can click the little button next to where it says subscribe, and make it so that you can get notifications in your email about when I do a video. All right, then, I'll leave it there for today. This is Thunder. Adios. Over and out.